Hello and welcome. As always, my name is Stephen Perlin, and I am here today because March is both Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month and National Nutrition Month. So what better time to combine your efforts to prevent the progression of colorectal cancer with some of the tips that we're going to provide you today. Now, we all know that's important to eat healthy and be active, and that's going to do a lot for your health and get better. But my guest today, registered dietitian, UHS registered dietitian Janelle Oakley is here to give you tips to make sure that you're living healthier, help stop the progression of any sort of cancer, and just have a better life in general. Janelle, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Obviously, Nutrition Month is a big deal to me as a dietitian, but I really couldn't miss the opportunity to combine that with colorectal cancer awareness. And I think I have some really good tips that everyone can incorporate into their daily lives to kind of help them prevent cancer and improve their nutrition.
Which is perfect. Got nice and easy tips that will get people going, or at least on the right path, which is always important. And while we're here, it'd be crazy missed opportunity if I did not wish you a happy Registered Dietitian Day. And to all of our UHS registered dietitians, for all the work they do, we are thankful, we're grateful for having you, and I know our patients are too, because you guys do so much to help them.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, well, enough of that. Now let's get into what we're here for today. Nutrition, colorectal cancer, we want to get people healthy, we want to get them eating better, living better. So talk to me about that. Let's get going.
Yes. So before I start talking about any of the food, I of course want to say that you can eat as healthy as possible, but there is no surefire guaranteed way to prevent colorectal cancer or any type of cancer really. The best way to keep track of that is to do your screenings, whether that's a colonoscopy or even a stool sample if that's appropriate. And our UHS GI teams are more than ready to help you out with that.
Oh, and I could jump in with a tip because they recommend to start before 45 years or older, but even younger if you have a history of family history of colorectal cancer or anything like that. So it's important to get screened. Very, very helpful and preventive.
Yes, absolutely. Eating healthy can really only go so far, so you need to combine those efforts. However, eating healthy can get you on a good track to prevent this to the best of our abilities. So the American Institute for Cancer Research has 4 main ideas that will help you to prevent colorectal cancer to the best of your ability. So the first one, as everyone has probably heard so many times before, is physical activity. We get that drilled in our heads day after day, and I understand. I personally, probably a really strong word, I hate exercising. I really do. But physical activity, you can't undermine the power of it. It really does help you. And it doesn't have to include just like going to the gym, lifting weights. This can be anything that you really enjoy. So for me, I take a tap class once a week for 60 minutes. And that's something I really enjoy that kind of gets my heart rate up and helps to get to my physical activity goal. The national recommendation is 150 minutes per week for adults. So that combines everything that you do during the week, whether you take a walk at lunch or walking your dog. If you want to take a tap class like I do, all of that counts. They also add on 2 days of strength training if that's something you're able to do. I know people have physical limitations. That also does not mean going to the gym and like pumping the weights. Yeah. That can be anything like, doing a couple squats here and there, anything to build the strength and to get your heart rate just up a little bit.
Well, that's, I think, important to know because I think when you hear physical activity, you think you got to be sprinting marathons or running, 60 miles a week or whatever it is. But it's really just about getting up and getting active, not just sitting still. It might even be doing something on your breaks while you're watching TV at night, maybe a couple sit-ups or push-ups. But it's about getting active, getting that your heart going, getting the blood flowing, and kind of just getting something moving, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So the next point that the American Institute for Cancer Research makes is to prevent colorectal cancer, the higher fiber intake and whole grain intake in your diet that can help prevent your risk.
Okay.
So whole grains, typically everyone thinks whole wheat bread, all that kind of fun stuff. That does include it. We try to aim for about half of our grains per day being whole grains. Now, what I hear as a dietitian a lot is, I don't like the taste, I don't like the texture, which is a valid point. It does have a different texture, it does have a different taste, but there are things we can do to incorporate more whole grains and not make it an all or nothing situation.
Which I think is good because I think that's a lot of people go all and like, I gotta really go hard on this, and then they hate it, and that's what happens.
Right.
They give up.
Yeah, you give up so easily if you don't like it. So little things you can do. Say you're having spaghetti night at home. Make a handful of the total amount of spaghetti that you're making whole grain, mix it in with the white pasta. That way you're still getting a little bit, but you're not going to taste it as much, and it'll probably be covered by the taste of the sauce anyway.
I was going to say, usually when I've done the whole grain in the past, the sauce usually helps you get through it. And it's really not that bad, to be honest with you. I didn't mind it.
Right. Just little bits here and there. I have some examples. So I have whole grain pasta, which is a great addition that you could do in any of your pasta nights. We also have whole grain tortillas. These I find have the same taste and texture as just normal white tortillas. They're really good for children, especially if you want to make like a quick lunch. Put a little bit of peanut butter on it, roll it up, and slice it, and you have like a nice little sandwich there, a little handheld for kids that they really enjoy.
That makes it nice and easy for them to eat too.
Right. Bread is where it gets a little trickier. I know, being impatient, when I offer like whole wheat toast to patients, people turn their heads. But there's a cool new product out there that is whole grain bread, but it's white bread. Don't ask me how they do it. I have no clue.
Yeah, we'll leave that up to them.
We'll leave it up to them. So it looks like this. It is a little browner than just a normal slice of white bread, but it is mostly just white. It has the same taste and texture as white bread, but it is made with whole grains. The first ingredient is whole grain. So you could always sneak that into your sandwiches, even if you want to do just one slice of whole wheat or this and another slice of white. That way you're getting 50-50.
You know what, I'm sorry, I just think that's such a great tip, because when you think of a sandwich, I have the same piece of bread on one side and the other, but there's simpler, like slight ways that you can get in there by doing one of the whole wheat, one of the regular, so that it's not as bad for you. And that's something I know personally, I could use that. That's easy, and it gets you in there, a little bit more each day.
Right. Another example is breakfast cereal. This is probably one of the top ways that people are getting their grains in, especially fiber. And when we talk about fiber, people are thinking like bran cereal, which it's great. I eat bran cereal quite often. If you enjoy it, go for it. Really high in fiber. But there are other things out there that can give us whole grains. Like this breakfast cereal is just whole grain Cheerios. And it's still sweetened, so it's something that kids would also enjoy.
And who doesn't love Cheerios?
Right. And the thing about this is, also as a dietitian, I'm very aware of financial restraints for people. All of these products are both SNAP and WIC eligible. Oh, okay. So, of course, depending on what your grocery store has and the types of products that you are able to get, but all of these products are eligible. So when you're out shopping, if you use those means to purchase, you can always be looking for these items.
Well, that's great, because it doesn't mean that your budget can affect you eating healthier.
Right, and these products typically aren't more expensive anyway, but occasionally, like the bread can be a little bit, even the tortillas. So just knowing that those are options,
that's
great way to get it in.
Absolutely.
So the third idea that the American Institute for Cancer Research has is that we need to reduce our intakes of processed meat and red meats. And this is difficult in just American society.
I can't imagine a lot of people are liking hearing that.
Yes, yep, I hear that quite often. So let's start with processed meat. What is processed meat? Anything that goes through any type of processing. So pepperoni, sausage, bacon, deli meats, all counts as processed meat. So the recommendation is to eat no more than 2 ounces per day. If you're eating more than that, your chance of colorectal cancer goes up by 18%.
Oh, wow.
Which is quite significant, so we don't want to be doing that.
Well, I guess my first question is 2 ounces of like a deli meat. How do you usually figure that out? Is that enough for a sandwich type of thing?
It usually is. So in this bowl, I have 2 ounces of just deli turkey here.
Oh, okay.
So I measured it out. I like to use a kitchen scale, but I know not everyone has one of those, and it's not something everyone can purchase. So another trick is, and this one's a little iffy because everyone has different size hands, but your palm, typically for just an adult female, is 3 to 4 ounces. Oh. So if you just cut that in half, that'd be about 2 ounces. Do maybe a half an inch pile of it, and that could be a rough estimate. For the larger males out there, maybe use half your hand as the starting point. But this is a good just visualization.
Yeah, so you can kind of get an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to try to avoid our processed meat intake. Don't be fooled by the processed meats that say like all natural, no added nitrates, because the thing is, they still have it in there. They're processed to a point. So even the natural title on it or label it still is a processed meat. It still counts. Yeah, a lot of people get fooled by
That's
that.
that's how they get you.
That's how they get you. So try to reduce your intakes of that. Red meat is where we find it tricky for a lot of people in this area. Red meat is classified as beef, pork, goat, and lamb. I don't know many people that are eating lamb, but beef is a huge thing.
Very popular.
So the recommendation is no more than 18 ounces per week.
Okay.
That's a little harder to manage and to count, but ultimately we want to recommend to replace your red meat intake with poultry or fish, even better, plant-based proteins. So your nuts, your beans, your seeds, anything like that.
What about like those Beyond Burgers? Is that a good replacement type of thing? You know, those veggie burgers that are supposed to take the place of meat?
Yeah, if you enjoy the taste of those, I know some people are very, they have an aversion to it. Yeah, those have no red meat in them. Typically they're made with like a soy product or a pea product, so plant-based, even better. When we're eating more than 18 ounces per week, that increases our risk of colorectal cancer by more than 10%.
Oh, wow.
So that can be big. And this is just talking about colorectal cancer. We won't even get into like heart health and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say another thing for that'd be good for heart health, but
Yeah.
that was last month.
That was last month, yeah. So ultimately, we want to try to reduce our intakes of these. Try to do meatless Mondays. If your family is really into eating beef tacos, maybe do like half of it as ground turkey instead.
With the seasoning, I'm sure you can't even taste it.
With the seasoning, or add some canned beans to it. It bulks it up, and you won't have to use as much meat, which also makes it cheaper. Plant-based protein is cheaper, so improve your health and save money. Win-win.
Yeah, I was gonna say, everybody wins in that scenario.
Right. Now the fourth idea is something that I have to take a practical approach to, and that's our alcohol intake. I like to take a practical approach to nutrition in general, and ultimately what we learn and what is broadcast is try not to drink any alcohol at all. Now, that's a great idea, but I know it's not realistic for everyone. So instead, we need to be mindful of how much we're drinking, and just trying to reduce how much we're drinking.
Makes sense.
I don't know where anyone is starting from, but it's always a good place to cut down as much as we can. So the recommendation for alcohol is 2 drinks a day for males and 1 drink for females.
Okay.
But that's where it gets a little confusing. What counts as a drink?
Yeah, I was gonna say, not one of those huge glasses I would assume at like a restaurant.
I know, you have a tough day at work and you just like fill your wine glass to the top. That's more than a glass. So 1 drink is 1 ounce of any type of hard liquor, 5 ounces of a wine, or 12 ounces of a beer.
Okay.
So I have examples here. These are just normal drinking glasses. A wine glass, I marked on here, 5 ounces is a little bit less than half. And I know some days it can be kind of hard. We've filled that up. On just a drinking glass, I marked where 12 ounces is.
Okay, towards the top.
Towards the top, yeah. And then something not many people know, these disposable drinking cups, like a red Solo cup, they actually have lines on them already that indicate alcohol serving sizes. So the bottom line is 1 ounce. That's what your liquor is. The middle line, that one's a little iffy on this one because their lines are wavy, but that's 5 ounces for wine. And then this top line here, 12 ounces for beer.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it gives you a really good visualization of how much to be drinking. And keep in mind, like if you're having a mixed drink, each shot of alcohol you add into it is 1 drink. So maybe try not to go for that double. Maybe just do some juice instead of one of the drinks, but cutting down your alcohol intake can significantly improve your risk of getting colorectal cancer and other types of health issues in general.
Well, thank you, Janelle. This was awesome. This was a ton of great tips, and I think my favorite part is that they were very easy to apply into my life or get in there, and I know I'm going to start including them right away, so I'm healthier and I know I can protect myself going forward. I know last time we did them, we did one in January, and after that I started doing some of these tips, so if we keep doing more of these, I'm going to be the healthiest person here at UHS. This is great for me. But seriously, back to being serious, everybody. These are tips for a healthy lifestyle to stop the progression of cancer or the risk of getting it. Obviously not a cure-all and not going to solve everything, but it's important tips that can help you live a longer, healthier life, and I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to add for today, Janelle?
If you want any more information, you can always go to nyuhs.org. and get in touch with your doctor, whether you want to get screened for colorectal health or you want more information about nutrition services. We are all here to help you.
Perfect. That's what I was going to say. So then I'll just wrap it up and say thank you for joining us, everybody, today. Thank you again, Janelle. And we hope you enjoyed these tips and start using them in your everyday life. We'll see you soon.